Art, I thought my husband was cheating until I saw who he was actually meeting. I swear, if you had told me a year ago that I'd be sitting in my car on a cold Tuesday night in suburban Ohio, gripping the steering wheel and trying not to cry while watching my husband meet someone behind a cafe, I would have laughed because Mark has always been the dependable, steady, overly honest type. He's the guy who returns extra change at the grocery store and tells me when he accidentally eats the last cookie, but for weeks he'd been acting strange. Late nights at work, sneaking out for errands, holding his phone like it was a fragile bomb, jumping every time I walked into the room and shutting down conversations whenever I asked what was going on. My friends insisted he was having an affair, and honestly, all the signs pointed to something terrible. So that night, when he left the house at 8:45 p.m. with the lamest excuse, I'm going to check on something at the office, I followed him, heart pounding so loudly I could hear it over the hum of my engine. He parked behind a tiny cafe near downtown, the kind of place teenagers hang out at after football games. Not a married 34-year-old man. I watched him pace back and forth, checking his phone, running his hands through his hair the way he does when he's nervous. My chest felt tight. I kept imagining a woman stepping out of the shadows, someone pretty, confident, someone who he'd chosen instead of me. And then a figure finally appeared, but it wasn't a woman. It was a teenage boy who couldn't have been more than 16, hood pulled up, eyes darting nervously. My confusion hit before the fear. Why would my husband, a grown man, be secretly meeting a kid? That's when everything inside me spiraled. Was this worse than cheating? Something illegal? I opened my car door, ready to storm over, but then I saw Mark do something that stopped me cold. He pulled out a small envelope and handed it to the boy with shaking hands. The kid suddenly threw his arms around Mark in this desperate, relieved hug. Now I was really panicking. I got out of the car and walked toward them, and both of them jumped when they saw me. The boy looked terrified, like he was about to bolt. Mark looked like he'd seen a ghost. Emily, I can explain, he said, voice cracking. And then the truth spilled out all at once, messy and emotional. The boy's name was Ethan, and he wasn't some random kid. He was Mark's half-brother. His father, who Mark had always described as a ghost who vanished, apparently hadn't vanished at all. He'd started another family. Ethan had reached out to Mark months ago after finding old letters between their father and Mark's mom. But Ethan's home life was a disaster. An abusive stepfather, a checked out mother, and a house that didn't feel like home. He'd been sneaking out to meet Mark, scared of anyone finding out, terrified of being sent away or punished. Mark had been helping him quietly, paying for food, buying clothes, slipping him money so he could save for an escape plan. He wasn't cheating. He was trying to figure out how to legally help a kid who wasn't technically his responsibility but felt like family. In the envelope, it was cash and a prepaid phone so Ethan could call for help if things got bad again. I didn't know whether to cry from relief or guilt for assuming the worst. The boy looked at me and whispered, "Please don't make him stop seeing me." That sentence broke me. We took Ethan out for a late night meal and he ate like someone who hadn't had a real meal in days. On the drive home, Mark apologized over and over for hiding it. But honestly, I understood. This wasn't betrayal. This was fear, responsibility, trauma, and love tangled together. Now Ethan stays with us most weekends, slowly opening up, slowly healing, and sometimes I lie awake thinking about how close I came to misjudging the man I married. I thought my husband was cheating. Turns out he was saving someone.